This is Jarrell with Quantum Light Consciousness. This is the Quantum Conscious review for Kubo, the movie. Here we go. So there's three major different dynamics in the movie Kubo. There's astrodynamics, there's shamanistic solar retrieval dynamics, and there's third eye dynamics. I'll be going over each of these dynamics and how it relates to reality. Um, the main thing is that everything in this movie is actually real. It's real on a metaphysical level, and because we're all made out of metaphysical energy on a level of atomic particles that actually exist in waveforms as metaphysical energy at large as one, it all forms into reality, from the fundamentals of this film. So just relax and just listen to how I break this down, and just feel how you can take the lessons from the film if you've seen it and just view it in a light of quantum consciousness. So, Kubo the movie, how I would like to explain it in one sentence is the hero's journey as the Christ of the inner child, learning the inner strength and discernment of forgiveness and the power of love. The power of love. So, there's so many aspects of this movie. It's like it's hard to even begin. So I'm just gonna go like where the movie took me as soon as it started. It starts out with Kubo's mom, and she's basically like a mom just trying to save her child at the beginning, and then they're in the ocean and they're battling like a huge storm, and they're just going through these waves, and she cuts through one of the waves with um, a magic banjo, and she uses that to land at their home. And what drew me in at the very beginning of this film was the home. The home is actually a stargate. Um, you see where they land. It's basically like a rock, like a cliff, and the shape of the rock is literally a galactic airport runway. Like that's the shape of what it would look like if you were to go out into the world and visit a stargate. That's where the big galactic beings live. Like, at least that's where they're docked on the planet. As guardians. So if you take a look at that structure at Kubo, and then you do research on stargates on you know in and around the world, you see a huge similarity. So that's the beginning, because once I saw that, I was like, okay, whoever wrote this film and shot this film is on to something. It's literally like literal. Like, it's literally like an illuminated picture. So I was hooked. So, yeah, from there, it goes along. It's an amazing, backdrop. His mom's kind of sick, and he takes care of her because of the horrible trauma that she's been through. So fast forward to the conflict. Um, if you've seen the film, you know the sisters, but the sisters are they're negative. They're evil, and they want Kubo dead just because of the conflict that they've had in their family quarrel. So the thing about the sisters is that they represent. Firstly, if you see in the movie, you see the sisters. They're two people, and they like there's one, and then they split, and they just fight with these crazy hooks and grapples. The way that they split, that is actually a representation of an actual like virus, like an actual mind virus in the astral. Um, I know that because I battled it myself. Like, it literally will hook onto you, and it will literally hook onto you and double itself, and try to just like counteract every move like you make with your own brain. So it can literally like hook onto your brain and then crisscross through your synapses. Um, so I'll put like the little picture up, like where you see the sisters. if you remember the scene in the movie where there's one sister, Kubo's aunt, or I don't know if they're one or two, I can't remember, but she goes up and then she splits in two and she's gone. That's exactly how that virus works. And so yeah, that's a huge key. And the granddad basically he wanted Kubo dead because he represents what he isn't, and he's just power hungry and he's taken over by negative force. The negative granddad is basically taken over by a parasitic being, and that's basically what you call the dark side in most galactic stories. Like that, in any galactic story, any being that has chosen the dark side, who has been manipulated to be dark, has been taken over by some type of artificial intelligence or some type of negative being who is either controlling artificial intelligence or who has been controlled by artificial intelligence. So it's like um, the parasite is something that Kubo has to take on to clear his entire like family lineage. Um, because in the movie there's a tradition in Kubo's town where they put out flames in a floating paper bag and they drift them down for the souls who have departed. And after a certain period of time during the night, those flames go out because that entire town has been taken over and is held by the parasitic being. So that entire situation has to be cleared by Kubo. He can only do that by literally clearing the granddad and curing the granddad. So the special thing about Kubo is that he thinks and feels with his own intention and manifests instantly anything he thinks and feels with his own magic. Um, So that's pretty cool because his magic is pure geometry as creation itself. So he's got his little banjo and he'll play it and then he'll have like strong emotion and strong feeling in anything he thinks about while he's doing that literally will manifest from his paper origami. So that's just like another like key or dynamic in the astral. Like when you think and feel something strongly, that instantly happens. So the movie also has soul retrieval dynamics. You have the Chrysler armor set. Now, only reason why I call it Chrysler is because it's a golden armor set that he has to get to and retrieve. So the armor that Kubo has to get to is the sword unbreakable, the chest plate, and the helm. And this is so key because this is the exact same type of dynamics that the inner child has to deal with when you are waking up in the physical. You have to be pure enough and protected enough to be able to raise your energy enough to face danger on astral levels. So when he gets to the armor later in the movie, you'll see how that unfolds for him. But in the beginning, he needs a lot of support from his guides, who are his parents, and the lessons that he learns going through those perils and dangers. So another great soul retrieval dynamic of the movie is that the parents actually transfer the soul pieces after their death. Um, when the mom dies, she uses the last of her ability to transform her life force into a living being who is the baboon. And then apparently the same with the dad, but the dad basically did that unconsciously because um, the dad is like the scarab or the ant or the being who is his protector during the entire film as well. And they end up meeting up with the dad's soul piece around, like a quarter of the way in through the film. Before they get to the end, Kubo finds his positive granddad, and then that really sheds a light on the dynamics that they share about the third eye, um, and the dynamics of the third eye, which is also a huge part of what the film was about. I guess they knew what they were doing. I hope they did. So Kubo has one eye, and he's able to see. He's able to see as love and compassion. So he's also able to see as oneness, just through that, that one lens that he has, which is the third eye. You're able to see the symmetry and the rotation of all creation, how everything is unified as one pattern of source, as one spirit. He meets his positive granddad in a dream, and of course, because the granddad had already passed on, so he basically sees that it's possible to continue that understanding and understand, the power of love and unity consciousness, you know, through the granddad's ability to personally perceive with his two eyes as one. So that's kind of like toroidal vision, um, with the physical body. That's like seeing with third eye with your two eyes open. Like you get so good, like understanding the dynamics of your own vision. You can translate the vision that you see, kind of like you're wearing goggles. Like it's literally like I don't even like it's hard to explain because it's like your own projection of your own projection inside your own head. So just like when you see with toroidal vision, you know that your own understanding and your own seamless function of your own flow of energy within your own head and your ocular nervous system and your central nervous system in the center of your brain, um, imploding harmoniously creates that harmonious perception of oneness and unity, because there's basically like a toroidal field is a unified field. It's a unified system, but there's you could see, if you put it like, if you look at it head on, there's there's two sides to it, but it's a unified structure. It's a unified flow. So it's like you see through that, and that's kind of like how the granddad sees. It's like he sees like I think he said double the truth, and yeah, like you see particles spinning, and you could see like all particles spinning as one, through your two eyes. So um, yeah, so when he gets to his negative granddad, he eventually gets there, and he's able to like stand up to him. It's crazy because when he stands up to him, he kind of just like stands there, but he can't do anything because like from a state of like force, like from a state of like brute force trying to like attack him, he can't do anything. And as the granddad was walking towards him, then he is pushed back, and the granddad just walking like he can't do anything, which is crazy because I just had a dream like that. Like I just had a dream like a negative being was just like there, and then I like punch his chest, and like he doesn't move, like nothing happened. And the same thing with the parasite in this film. He goes up to Kubo's face in front of like his entire family, and his face like It's like huge. His face is just like it's just like it's just like the size, basically like the size of anything you could see. It takes up the whole screen of visual in the film, and that same thing happened to me like just like a couple nights, probably like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Like just seeing a parasite, just like basically just like smiling a shit-eating grin at you. It's like you can't you can't fight something that is going to feed off your fear or negative energy or some type of struggle against it. Like it's that's gonna just it's gonna only empower that, and you'd be working against yourself. So Kubo eventually figures out that he the way to rectify the situation is not fighting the granddad and just clearing the parasite off of him with the power of compassion and the power of love in his heart. So when the parasite starts to wrap around him and his town, him and the rest of the living soul family that he has, he basically uses the light in his heart to dome the people that he loves, which is true, which is totally real. He puts a dome over him, and then he uses the last of his magic from within himself. He had run at the end of the film. He had one string left in his magical banjo that he had already used to fly and get to another area of town. So he gets there, and when the parasite is wrapping around everyone, he had no magic left. So he used the magic that he had left within him. Same thing that the parents did. He had a piece of his hair. He took a piece of his hair out and he put it on the banjo. And when he did that, he basically just sent out a wave of unconditional love in all directions from the dome, from the golden dome that he had around everybody that he loved. So when you blast love at a being that is comprised of just sickness, hate, guilt, anger, just all that is everything negative, that being can't do anything. It dissolves and dies. So, so that's what he did. He sent out a wave. It was like it turned into like a tidal wave. So he used his magic, sent out the wave, and the wave cleared the sickness off of the granddad. And after that, the granddad comes back, and then they forgive him. Like the granddad cannot remember what he was doing because he was literally wrapped up in that thing. That thing had him like wrapped up and just using him. So the end of the story is, it's just like they remember what was good about the granddad, and they have him remember himself as as he truly was. And um, the the basis of the story is exactly how it goes in the third dimension. Like when you start to wake up on a cosmic and galactic level, do you realize that people don't understand who they are anymore? They don't understand where they've come from. They don't understand what they've been doing their entire life on a level of their soul intelligence. They don't understand where they are, and they don't understand like what time of year it is on a galactic level. So when you see people acting as if they aren't a person who would have some type of compassion towards someone who is exactly like them, the thing you have to do is Kind of just have had like patience for people, patience for like family, patience for friends, co-workers. It's like an awakening process that happens within each individual, ticking on a biological clock. And as that biological clock hits that timer, only that individual can take what they've learned all in their life in their own hands to begin to clear themselves and help the surrounding people who are in their lives also clear themselves if they should choose to do so. So that golden dome, that literally represents like you, your home, your town, or whoever else, you find dear that, you help to kind of be in a place of higher awareness, higher consciousness, and loving and healing energy. All right, because that's literally how it is. Like there's all types of shit going through all types of people that you would never even like imagine or fathom. Like parasitic forces can literally wrap around the person, and then the person will literally forget like how love feels like. They literally will forget what compassion is, and the only thing you can do is protect yourself and protect the people who you find dear, to just, make the shift happen in your own paradigm as quick and as efficiently as possible. So that's kind of just like what I wanted to share. Um, Movie's my favorite movie of all time, just because it has so much in it, so much dynamics, so much awesomeness, and so much truth and values. It's like lifetime values on lessons on lessons. Um, and yeah, you should definitely watch it. 5 stars forever from me. And yeah, that's it. Stay tuned to the blog. I'll be doing more of these reviews. And thanks so much for listening.